Well, welcome everyone back to the joint closing session. We hope that you have had a great discussion of each theme. May I remind all the moderators to keep the highlights at 5 minutes. We're going to hear the highlights from the discussion from each theme. Now I would like to invite Mr. Carl Lindwall, the moderator from the Sustainable Smart Cities theme, to please present the highlights from the discussion. The floor is yours, Mr. Lindwall.
Thank you so much for that. And of course, thank you to everyone who was in the session to listen in on the both sides. I would want to thank all the 4 speakers for their thought out and interesting insights. In connection to these remarks, I'd like to emphasize the importance of reducing the usage of fossil fuels in order to decrease the impact on our planet. Sustainable energy from renewable sources like solar, wind, and biomass need to increase to reach the global goals by 2030. To avoid global warming over 1.5 degrees, global carbon emissions must be reduced by 45% worldwide by the year 2030 compared to 2010 levels. Societies from all over the world do not only need to shift to a more sustainable way of life, but also to adapt to challenges such as warmer temperatures, extreme weather events, and sea level rise. These environmental effects will have a significant impact on both Sweden and Thailand, and it is in our interest to face these challenges together. Furthermore, today's transport sector is to a large extent dependent on fossil fuels. As cities are becoming more populated, policy instruments and behavioral changes are needed to meet the increasing challenges, as well as smarter and more efficient technical solutions. There's also a digital revolution happening, which we can see both in Thailand and Sweden. The link between digitalization and sustainability offers both opportunities and challenges. Digital technologies enable sustainable innovation and can help solve challenges such as increased demand of energy and smart transportation. Social aspects like safety in cities and the availability of education and health services are other examples of how digital technology can transform cities. Social sustainability focuses on individuals' quality of life and how a sustainable, healthy, and just society can be created where everyone is included, regardless of gender, sex, background, or disability. A part of social sustainability is to involve citizens, which is expected to lead to increased understanding, engagement, and knowledge. Depending on the local context, different issues are, of course, prioritized. Increased urbanization has many positive outcomes that can connect people, reduce poverty, and foster human development. At the same time, the increased pressure on cities leads to a stronger need to build sustainable cities and offer public services such as sustainable public transport systems, waste management, and energy efficient solutions. In order to deliver these solutions and create cities that are sustainable in the longer term, new technological solutions, together with good governance that consider the social aspects of sustainability, are needed. These were some of the topics that we talked about today. And let me just take a few moments to summarize our breakout session and the key words and messages of today's speakers. Mr. Östen Ekengren, as a senior advisor at Smart City Sweden, he brought up the message of how crucial a holistic approach is when building smart cities. It's not only important to think in a sustainable way when building and producing new homes, infrastructure, and parks, but it's equally important to reuse and recycle what is already in existence. Mr. Östengren continued by saying that we can never be satisfied. And that brings me to the point that we need to keep enhancing. We need to continue to strengthen our cooperation in order to push the green transition in the right direction, regardless of how far we have already come in this endeavor. We also had Mr. Alan Larson, the founder and senior advisor of Electricity Hammarby Sjöstad, Stockholm Green Innovation District, who walked us through 10 innovations and brought up concrete examples on how to combine green and sustainable solutions, such as green concrete construction, together with green transportation in order to create a truly holistic and smart city, as is the case in Hammarby Sjöstad. It was also very enlightening to listen to Mr. Larsson's presentation on how many sustainable neighborhoods and hubs we are currently developing and planning in our Swedish capital. This is yet another great incentive to invite our Thai colleagues and friends to visit Sweden as a part of a planned Smart City delegation later this year. Furthermore, I'd like to extend a big thank you to Dr. Pasakon Pratombutur, the Senior Vice President of DEPA, who mentioned the Thai efforts within Smart Cities initiatives in order to create a natural bridge and a unifying aspect for Swedish-Thai cooperation, as well as a proven openness towards new solution and cooperation in the area of smart cities. Last but not least, I would want to focus on Kanchana Patarachoke, the Executive Vice President of PTT, and his presentation on great, tangible, and concrete examples how the private sector, together with effective local governance, R&D investments, and collaboration with academia can lead to a real impact and create a thriving ecosystem. Kanchana also mentioned a very important aspect regarding our common actions towards building smart cities. They must first and foremost be livable and provide its people with a good quality of life and coexist with the natural environment which connects today's topics on sustainability, education, and equality in what I believe a beautiful day. We believe that this session today is only the start of further collaboration between Sweden and Thailand in building resilient, sustainable smart cities. And we're very much looking forward to inviting Thai public and private stakeholders to a delegation to Sweden in the third quarter of this year. And we're equally excited to help arrange a Swedish delegation in Thailand to learn more about the smart cities developments here during the latter end of the year. So again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to moderate this session. And thank you so much for all distinguished speakers, panelists, and good questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl, for this presentation of highlights. Now I would like to invite Ambassador Cecilia Rudström-Ruin, the moderator from the Decent Work is Good for Business discussion, to present the highlights from your breakout session. Please, Cecilia.
Thank you so much, first of all, for the opportunity to moderate a panel on issues which are really core priorities of my government relating to women's economic empowerment and to decent work and human rights in the world of work. We had an excellent panel with two representatives from the Thai government, from the Ministry of Labour and the Ministry for Social Affairs, the representative of the Swedish Ministry of Employment, and also representatives of two companies, IKEA and Volvo, and a very good discussion generally. So let me highlight some of the points from the speakers and then some general conclusions. From Ms. Gintana from the Ministry of Social Affairs, we learned about the general framework for ensuring more women in the labor market in Thailand, including child development centers, parental leave, support to women entrepreneurs, as well as international cooperation, including in the ASEAN. From Ms. Kanchana in the Ministry of Labour, we heard about the general setting, including the demographic context in Thailand, where in the coming years, labor shortage is to be expected also due to declining birth rates, and that gives an added impetus to the work to ensure women's participation on the labor market. She developed on the labor protection law in Thailand, on the challenges when it comes to advancing the agenda, challenges both of an economic nature and a more cultural nature, but also developed on the lengthy processes at hand when trying to adjust the legal frameworks, meaning that also other measures are needed in order to advance the agenda through more measures relating to encouragement of voluntary measures. Ms. Lenita Freidenvall of the Swedish Ministry of Employment talked about the most important family-friendly reforms that Sweden has undertaken over a lengthy period, many decades of work, and that includes improving the social infrastructure relating to high-quality childcare and elderly care. Secondly, the separation of income taxes to have individual income taxes rather than family-based income taxes as an important basis for advancing women's economic empowerment. And thirdly, measures relating to parental leave for both parents. Then our private sector representatives, Volvo explained about their family bond initiative, which is a global one and currently implemented in Thailand, and IKEA on parental leave, including both for mothers and fathers as part of the inclusive business model. Some of the themes that were really permeated the discussion of all presenters was, first of all, that there is a difference between having the policy frameworks, having the legal frameworks on the one hand, and ensuring the implementation on the other hand. So we need to focus on both, but focusing on the actual work on the ground is absolutely key. A second aspect, both from government and private sector representative, concerns cultural and attitudes and the importance of trying to actively promote shifting attitudes as a way to enhance women's economic empowerment and decent work. A third point concerned looking at measures in this area from a private sector point of view as business and is not seen as a cost, but rather as an investment. A third measure concerned the international frameworks, both in terms of collaboration between states, experience sharing, but also the key importance of the regulatory frameworks at hand at global level, and most importantly, the ILO conventions. And if there is one overall conclusion of our session, I would say that, yes, indeed, we did confirm that decent work is good for business, as was the title of our breakout session. So thank you very much again.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Last but not least, I would like to invite Dr. Kanchana Patarachoke, the moderator of the theme, Higher Education, Green Solutions and Innovation, to please present the highlights from the discussion, please.
So we had very, very interesting and very stimulating discussions at the very end of the session. So we heard from the Blekinge Institute of Technology, from the Suvarnabhumi University of Technology, KTH Royal Institute of Technology, as well as Chulalongkorn University and the International College for Sustainability Studies, Nakarin Virod University. And I think we were also joined by Sweden alumni, like Thai students who went to Sweden to study from on clean energy and on alternative protein. So I think what the emerging theme that came up was, first of all, how do we define sustainability goals? I think a lot of institutions, both educational and corporate institutions, as well as public organizations, tend to define them by the SDGs. However, we saw that the Blekinge Institute of Technology use systems models to define it. So they work backwards by then first visualizing what the goal is and what the ideal environment would be, and then trying to then identify and have a more holistic approach, not just working on one small problem which only covers one SDG, but actually looking at the different components that would then make that ideal possible. We were also looking at tourism and whether it needs to be redefined, considering how the recent pandemic has hit very, very hard on tourism, and this being one of the most important sectors for the Thai economy. How do we then take lessons, and what can the educational institutions support in terms of recovery issues and so on? And how do we redefine, or do we need to redefine what tourism is? Like, do we want to go back to the pre-COVID situation, or do we take this opportunity to rethink what sustainable tourism should be, and how to move forward? We also talked about the accelerators for innovation and entrepreneurship, and the roles that the universities are playing in this. What we found is that for the Swedish universities, the structure is much more established for this, and most universities would have centers where incubators, where the entrepreneurs could go and get support. Whereas in Thailand, the educational institutions are able to support support the new ideas, but then there is a bit more work to be done in order to really push it forward. In terms of models of collaboration between the academia and the corporations, what they found is that using the case of the SUT, like the Suriname University of Technology, they actually identify the pain points of the companies to then help integrate the students into this collaboration and facilitate the internship and so on, and also the entrepreneurship programs. So in terms of, in conclusion, what we found is that the role of the higher educational institutions is not just being the provider of education, but also a provider of a network. Even after that you graduated, that you're still in touch with your universities, and to help push the entrepreneurs with these new innovative technologies to make it come into reality. So what we are hoping is that this session, and in fact this session has turned out to be a springboard for further collaboration between Thailand and Sweden. So for instance, I think Blekinge and SUT would like to connect more on that. But we also saw a really great overview of collaboration between KTH and Chulalongkorn University and other universities who are not presented today. So yes, thank you very much for that. And we hope to be able to further these collaborations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kunpoi, and to all the moderators for the very good summary of the various discussions. I look forward myself to also looking through the other breakout sessions that I did not attend to. Now, the moment that everyone has been waiting for has come, and we would like to invite Ambassador of Sweden, Jon, to present the concrete outcomes of the collaboration from this forum, please. Jon, Ambassador, you have the floor.
Now, hello again, everyone. Thank you, Kun Anna. Yes, this is indeed an honor to present these outcomes, and there are many more outcomes, of course, but we have chosen to highlight two of them. Let me just also say that yesterday was a great day for the Swedish Embassy and for Team Sweden here in Bangkok. We organized an event at Bangkok Art and Cultural Center. It was an event where we opened the photo exhibition that you had the chance, all of you, I hope, to get a glimpse of earlier today, Parenting an Equal Opportunity. And at the event, we also launched the pledge of paternity leave that 12 Swedish affiliated companies now have joined. The pledge is about these companies offering at least 1 month of paid paternity leave to their employees. We are very proud and happy that so many companies agree to this and on the importance of striving for a more gender equal world of work, basically, and that they chose to join this initiative. We are certain that this will contribute to decent working conditions to the benefit of all employees in these companies. Let me name them alphabetically: ABB, AstraZeneca, Atlas Copco, Capaciton, Electrolux, Foreo, Fitness 24/7, Global Bugs, IKEA, Rapid Asia, Volvo Cars, and Wallander & Son. So may I suggest that we unmute ourselves so we can all salute these companies with a digital applause. Great. So then I go on with our next outcome that we would like to present. So let's see if I should wait for maybe some slide here. It's the virtual agreement signing ceremony between Chulalongkorn University and KTH, the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm. And for the virtual agreement signing ceremony between Chulalongkorn University and KTH, I would like to invite representatives from KTH and Chulalongkorn University who are now with us live from their respective universities in Stockholm and Bangkok. I understand that the agreement has already been partially signed, so today we will sign the remaining part of the agreement so that it would take effect from today. And from KTH, we have Professor Stefan Östlund, Vice President for Global Relations, and Professor Björn Berggren, Department Head, School of Architecture and the Built Environment, that will sign the agreement on KTH's behalf. From Chulalongkorn University, we have Professor Borsak Kanok-Nukulchai, Executive Director, and Dr. Pietro Borsano, Deputy Executive Director, Industrial and Global Alliances, Chulalongkorn School of Integrated Innovation, that will sign the agreement. So, KTH and Chulalongkorn University, are you ready?
Yes.
Great. On the count of 3, please sign the agreement. 3, 2, 1. And please show us the agreements that you have signed. Wonderful. Yeah, we can actually see through the screen. Great. The wonders of digital meetings. congratulations to both universities on entering this agreement, and of course also for more collaboration in the years to come. Let me again ask all of us to unmute ourselves for a round of applause. Thank you so much, and over to Kun Anna and Kun Rabi again.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. These concrete outcomes of the collaboration between Sweden and Thailand look impressive, and we do hope they will have a long-lasting impact on the related topics.
Indeed, Dr. Rapi, these outcomes are the testimonials of the continuous cooperation between every party involved, and we will continue the conversation and the collaboration on the sustainable development between our two countries.
And we saved the best for last. Now we would like to invite Her Excellency Mrs. Kanchana Patarachoke, Ambassador of Thailand to Sweden, to please deliver the closing remarks.
สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ Everyone can hear me? Okay, I hope everyone can hear me. Okay. Well, I have the honor to speak last, but I will not be long. I'm sure you have had very inspiring sessions all through the morning here in Sweden and afternoon in Thailand. I'm so pleased to see that the Thailand-Sweden Sustainable Development Forum has grown significantly in interest and in substance. Last year when we initiated this, we took a lot of time to prepare for it. And last year we had 3 days of meeting on different topics. This year, I think we are becoming so creative. So we have 3 sessions in one afternoon. And it's, I have listened to the outcome at the end. So it has been quite a substantive meetings. I would like to congratulate the Embassy of Sweden, Ambassador Yoon and his team, and also, of course, Kun Kao Lin Won, and also all the teams to take part in organizing this meeting. And I also thank the panelists, the moderators, and all participants who have listened in. For me, the 3 topics that we have chosen today are very important to both Sweden and Thailand. The topic of smart cities, sustainable smart cities. This is something that living in Sweden, I have experienced it firsthand. So smart cities is not only digital city, but it's livable city, it's green city, sustainable cities. You can access to forest and green area within like 5 minutes, and the city is accessible to the elderly, to persons with disabilities, and it is also inclusive in a sense that all decision making is made by consultation with stakeholders. So I think this is something that Sweden and Thailand can share, so that when we have smart cities in Thailand, it's going to be sustainable, livable smart cities. On the second topic, decent work, this is something that I have also seen in Sweden. You can take off work, you can take maternity leave or paternity leave, or you can take time to take care of your children or your parents, and yet you don't have to be worried about being paid or not. So this is something that I'm sure the government of Thailand, all agencies have been working tirelessly for. So I think we are so delighted to hear that these 12 Swedish companies have pledged to give 1 month to the fathers to take care of their children. That's wonderful. And we hope that more and more Swedish companies and also Thai companies can join in this initiative. The last topic is about higher education. And that is very important because higher education means that you need to be responsive to society. You need to address to the social challenges, and that higher institutions also talk to communities, local communities and the private sector, and they can respond to the needs of the society. This is also something that I have seen a lot during the past 2 years that I have been in Sweden. So I hope we leave these meetings very inspired and wanting to do even more. And I have noticed that there will be delegations coming from Thailand to Sweden and also from Sweden to Thailand. The Thai embassy in Stockholm would be delighted to support all these efforts. I would also pledge that next year it will be the turn of the Thai embassy in Stockholm to host this, to take the lead. I see Ambassador Yoon is being happy. Okay, so we will take the lead next year. But I will try to match the good quality that the Swedish embassy has done this year. So we have one more year to make preparations for it. We also have in the pipeline the in mind, we have the Innovation Week, which we will work with our Thai embassies in the Nordic countries to introduce Innovation Week in Thailand, bringing delegations from all the Nordic countries to Thailand. At the same time, I have to say that the Thai embassies in Nordic countries, we initiate Thailand Nordic Countries Innovation Unit. We just started. Now we have a Facebook. You can go in, Thailand Nordic Countries Innovation Unit. And the objectives is first to be communicating knowledge, providing knowledge for both sides on innovation. And the second objective is to link academia, higher institutions, think tanks together. And third is to link the business sectors. Last week, we had the CEO of SCG here in Sweden, meeting lots of startups and people who are working in the innovation system in Sweden. So we hope to also provide that opportunity to other Thai companies and other Thai agencies who may wish to come to Sweden. So thank you very much, everyone, for taking part in today's meeting. I'm actually at a temple in Sweden. There's so many Thai temples in Sweden. So sorry I couldn't attend since the beginning, but I will sure try to listen to the recording later on. Thank you very much and congratulations to all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. And it's very good to hear that you will be hosting next year. We look very much forward to that. Thank you for taking that on, and also for mentioning the recording. That is also something we would like to remind everyone of, that it will be available on the embassy webpage, but also on the Facebook event page in the coming days.
And of course, to everyone, thank you very much for joining in this forum, Sweden-Thailand Sustainable Development Forum 2022. And we hope to see everyone again at Thailand-Sweden Sustainable Development Forum 2023.
Yes.
And this concludes this forum. We wish everyone a pleasant afternoon or evening. Tak so mycket.
ขอบคุณค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ